It is said that Batman is a master of 127 different styles of martial arts. Hi, I'm Big Bang Mike. I'm only the master of like 10, so nowhere near bats. But I found a list of these martial arts and I thought it'd be fun to go over a few of the more eclectic ones. Today we're gonna cover the art known as Yayan. Yayan is a full-contact Filipino kickboxing martial art, not unlike Thailand's Muay Thai. Its name is sort of a portmanteau of the Tagalog phrase that translates to Dance of Death. It too hosts the awesome art of the elbow and cool kicks that tend to slice down more than the upward kick of its Muay Thai contemporaries. But its biggest martial arts contribution would probably be a move known as the Bolo Punch. It's an uppercut with awkward timing that rears back before throwing, unlike your standard in-tight uppercut. Modeled after the swinging of a bolo machete, it arguably put Filipino boxers on the map. I think you see Bats rearing his hand back for a bolo-style punch all the time. Want to know more about Bats' fighting art? Like and follow. The Dark Knight has apparently mastered over 127 different martial arts. Hi, I'm Big Bang Mike, professional martial artist, fighter, and actor. Let's go over some weird ones. Today, I want to focus on the martial arts known as Varma Ati. Varma Ati or Varma Kalai is a martial art that is Indian in origin. It has this cool yin and yang aspect to it where the art can be used to heal or hurt. You see, one of the main aspects of this martial arts is manipulating pressure points. And these pressure points can be manipulated medically for relief or pain, just a lot of pain. These pressure points were thought to be so powerful, it was said that they would work against wartime elephants. Poor elephants. There are loads of instances of the Bats using pressure points in the comics, usually to subdue or immobilize an opponent that he doesn't really want to hurt. And Varma Ati is one of the many martial arts he uses to do just that. Now remember to follow for more of that sweet, sweet comic-related martial arts content. Batman has mastered over 127 different martial arts styles. In this series, we're exploring some of the ones that you might not have heard about. I'm Big Bang Mike. I've been around the block martial arts-wise, so let's get started. Today, we're looking at the Japanese weapon art of Kyudo. Kyudo is a traditional ancient Japanese art of archery, featuring a giant asymmetrical longbow that dates back to 500 BCE. An art properly known as Kyojutsu, it has its origins in the samurai class of feudal Japan. This art obviously differs from our Western understanding of archery, because while that type of archery is primarily concerned with hitting the targets, Kyudo is more concerned with one's mindfulness and spirit while shooting. It's almost meditative, and they only permit natural ingredients for use in their bows, unlike what we see in today's archery. Now obviously, our Caped Crusader is no stranger to the bow. He even went up against Robin Hood. And don't forget the longbow Batman action figure, but I like to think the discipline of Kyudo helps with batarangs. Batman's a master of over 127 different styles of martial arts. Let's go over the weirder ones, part 4. I'm Big Bang Mike, I know a thing or two about martial arts, let's go! Today we're covering Batman's mastery of Chin Na. Chin Na, or Tai Chi Chin Na, is the ancient Chinese martial arts of bodily manipulation. Usually this manipulation refers to joints, leading it to be considered the Chinese traditional form of grappling. However, whereas joint manipulation tends to be the most tactically relevant aspect of the martial art, it also goes into how to manipulate heart palpitations, blood flow, even brain patterns. And this is where the legendary dim mak or death touch comes into cultural relevance. Well, this art and the very comic book ads that were featured in Batman comics. Anyways, if you want to know more about the dim mak, we did a whole series on martial arts myths and legends. It's in the bio. Anyways, Batman has been known to use or threaten to use the dim mak death touch on many an occasion. And he has his mastery of Chin Na to thank. Now like and follow. Batman has mastered over 127 different styles of martial arts. Let's go over the ones you might not have heard about. I'm Big Bang Mike. I've been studying martial arts all my life. You could call me the Carl Sagan of combat or the Bill Nye of black eyes. Today we're covering the Batman's mastery of Hung Gar. Hung Gar is an ancient Shaolin art that focuses on strong stances and strong hand techniques. It was the primary inspiration for the style known as earthbending in the Avatar series. Now, the interesting thing you're gonna find about Shaolin Kung Fu in general is that it's comprised of hundreds of styles. Each one of these styles tends to focus primarily on one aspect of combat. You study each one individually, then combine them to become a complete fighter. Hung Gar is a very stance-based style and hopes to provide his practitioner with a very strong base. Batman would likely use the art of Hung Gar to brace for superhero landings. Like on top of the cars in The Dark Knight, that had to be hard on the knees. Alright, if you made it this far, you gotta follow. Batman has mastered over 127 different styles of martial arts. In this series, I'm going over the ones you've probably never heard of before. I'm Big Bang Mike, I teach martial arts for a living, let's go. Today, let's cover Batman's mastery of Pa Kwa. Pa Kwa, or Pa Kwa Chang, is another famous ancient Chinese martial arts style, whose focus, amongst other things, is footwork. Its legendary circling footwork teaches you how to move in perfect balance without stutter, sound, or trips. Through superior control of their stance, they believe they can pull off trips and strikes that would not be possible for those who don't have that same kind of control. It could be argued that it's Batman's superior control of his stance, as cultivated through his mastery of Pa Kwa, that gives him that ninja-like ability to vanish at a moment's notice without being seen. But what do you think? Is it Pa Kwa that gives Batman his ninja-like ability to disappear from the scene, or is it something else? Let me know in the comments and hit follow while you're at it. Batman has mastered over 127 different styles of martial arts. These are the lesser known ones. I'm Big Bang Mike. This series is getting a little bit difficult because I'm assuming you guys know all of the more traditional styles of martial arts that most martial arts professionals do. I need to keep that in mind. Let's talk about the Cape Crusaders' mastery of Hapkido. In my opinion, Hapkido can be best described as a sister art to the more well-known Taekwondo. One of the fundamental differences being their implementation of throws and joint locks. In that way, it might be easier to describe Hapkido as the Korean Jiu-Jitsu, with, kicks. Now, we know that Batman has an insane throwing and takedown game. Look at that single leg. And while Hapkido does have a ground game, its wheelhouse tends to be something a little bit different. Something they call stand-up joint manipulation. And Batman loves his stand-up joint manipulation. I would imagine that Batman uses something different for his stand-up grappling game than he does for his ground game. Look, by now, you get the idea. This is the series nobody's watching where I go over the lesser-known styles of the 127 different styles of martial arts that Batman's mastered. Look, honestly, this last episode is under obligation, I guess, because TikTok seems to suppress anything martial arts related for my channel, which is kind of a bummer because that's what I'm here for. Anyways, Shoshin-ryu. Shoshin-ryu karate, or karate if you're a jerk about it, is legit one of the oldest forms of curricularized karate you can possibly study. I mean, its founder was known as the Miyamoto Musashi of Okinawa, and it's largely credited for creating the martial arts kata as we understand it today. Now, you can say what you want about katas, but when it comes to training large groups of people, it's a valuable tool. Batman likely used its approach in teaching people to train the Bat family, as well as using the meditative qualities for the impulse control needed for the job. Lord knows he needs it.